Hi, in this video I'm going to share with you what an archetype is, what the Shadow Archetype is, the traits and the characteristics of the Shadow Warrior Archetype specifically, and then 7 ways of knowing that the Shadow Warrior Archetype is actually ruining your career. We'll finish off with how you can integrate your Shadow Warrior Archetype. Hi, my name's Donna. I'm with Mellow Coaching, and recognising the archetypes is a brilliant way of gaining insight to yourself and to others. Subscribe if you would like to hear more about the masculine archetypes. There's a playlist. So what is an archetype? Really strange name. Well, unless you're familiar with them. Well, it's from the Greek word archetypos, which means the original pattern or mould. It can be an image, a symbol, a character, a person. It's a template, a blueprint, if you will. It's a set of behaviours or a set of circumstances that come around that are very familiar. So what is the shadow? Well, the shadows, the unconscious parts of the personality, the things that we aren't aware of. They can be repressed, they can be denied, squished down. They can also be projected onto other people. And that can lead to conflict and to misunderstandings. The shadow archetype can lead to destructive behaviour, which won't serve you well. So what about the shadow of the warrior archetype? Well, you're going to see aggression, you're going to see rigid thinking, you're going to see selfishness. So it's all about that personal gain, not so fussed about the needs of other people. You may see recklessness as well, impulsive actions without thinking through consequences. In the shadow, you're going to see conflict seeking rather than conflict resolving. Shadow sides can be manipulative. The shadow warrior archetype inspires fear, and in the shadow you're going to see a victim mentality. So all of this is going on, but there's a total avoidance of taking responsibility. You're going to be blaming others, and there's a good possibility you're going to lash out. So what are the 7 ways of knowing that the shadow warrior archetype is actually ruining your career? So number 1, fear-based leadership. So you're going to be leading in your career through inspiring fear. You're going to use threats, whether they're covert or overt. You're going to intimidate. There's going to be this culture of fear, this walking on eggshells. It's going to stifle innovation. People are not going to be giving their best because they feel squashed in. There's a resistance to innovation. You don't want to know about new ways of working. It's got to be as it is, or what you've decided to bring, never mind what anybody else did. So number 2, your communication is aggressive. It's confrontational, it's bullying. People fear an open and honest dialogue. It's just not a thing. Conflict is escalated, it's not resolved at all. And the communication style really contributes to this toxic, stressful workplace. People are not thriving there. Number 3 is micromanagement. I'm sure that is not a surprise to you. Being controlling. There's not much trust. You don't give people autonomy. People's creativity is stifled. Ideas are not welcomed. It's a situation where you're completely managing everything to within an inch, and it really kills things off. Number 4 is that you are divisive. If you find that you're forming cliques in the workplace, that you're giving preferential treatment to the in people, you don't really want to know the out people, you're really gossipy, you're underhand, you'll do whatever you need to do to gain an advantage. That is part of the Shadow Warrior Archetype, and it's ruining your career. Number 5, poor decision making. You're making decisions impulsively, or you're making them in a very defensive way. It's not going to advance your career if you're making poor decisions. And of that brings number 6, which is blaming others. So you're making these decisions, you're not taking responsibility for your actions, for your decisions. You are blaming other people, blaming external situations, external circumstances. It's never you, it's always other. And number 7 is around reputational damage. Your behaviours can bring you a negative reputation within the organisation that you work within, and that in and of itself is going to hinder your career progression. So it's okay saying these 7 things and look out for them, and bear in mind it's a continuum. There'll be times when you're really showing these and other times where it's just a theme or it's not even there at all. And please also be kind to yourself if you're recognising yourself in here, that we do respond to stress and tricky situations, life situations and work situations in different ways. So I rather suspect this is an undulating situation, but assuming you can recognise this, what can you do? Well, you want to be looking to integrate your shadow. So basically, do the inner work. So 4 key areas to focus on. First one up is self-awareness. How do you get that? Reflection, being honest about your feelings, your motivations and behaviours. Can you own them? You can do things like journaling, therapy. You might discuss things with your friends. You can get feedback. You might get a coach. You might get a mentor. You might do some meditation. The thing with the shadow is it's not up there in your face. You're blindsided to it in many ways. So engaging in the self-awareness strategies can really help you to see that, to understand it. The second one is around acceptance. Acknowledge your shadow, own it, but be compassionate towards yourself because you've got some understanding there. You didn't just show up this way for the heck of it. There will be life circumstances, your upbringing, your childhood, whatever happened will bring you to this point. Number 3 is about transformation or transmuting the shadow. So you're redirecting your shadow, you're working it into, bringing it into the light, to the healthy side of the archetype. So for example, you might channel jealousy into motivation, collaboration or gratitude. You can show gratitude when you're feeling jealous, gratitude for what you have, and also acknowledgement and gratitude that you get to see and be around the things that you're jealous of. And number 4 is personal growth. It's very much linked into the self-awareness, but what it does is it promotes psychological maturity. And don't we all want to grow up? Okay, so that's a summary of the 7 things to look out for, some strategies for integration, and of course I'm going to ask you to subscribe and watch the Healthy Warrior Archetype video, because that lets you know how the Healthy Warrior Archetype shows up professionally, something to aspire to. Until then, good day.